One. It's shorter than the last one, and it's not so bad. We've got to go through and create our loop to where we go through and test to see whatever we were given. So they've given us a city, and we have to go through a loop to test. Remember I called in the last one, this list is like a train. Here's the engine. Car 0, car 1, car 2. See them? They're separated by the commas or the connections, so that's the sequence. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 cars in this train, if you will. Their indexes are 0 through 9. So we have to have a loop that goes through 10 times from 0 to 9. Knowing that, all right, let's go create a loop. We'll do that same for loop. For I in range. Now let's get tricky with this. And instead of saying I know how long this list is, we're going to say I don't know, I need to go find out. So there's a function. It's the Len function. And the Len function, if I pass it cities in Michigan, that list, it will tell me how long that list is. Put the colon there. Do enter. So I'm going to go through each time 0 through 9. It's going to go through this loop. Now what do we want to do in this loop? In this loop, I'm going to say if, and they've got this comment here for us, find out if the city's there and print something. So if cities in Michigan, I'll go ahead and put the square braces and I, if what's in the current position is equivalent to what was input in city, colon to close out the conditional. What do we want to do if there's a match? Well, we need to do print city found. And we'll do it exactly the way they've got it there. So there we go. Now, instead of going that way, and if it's a match saying city found, let's look at this a little bit different. I'm going to come down. I'm going to back that all the way over to the start there. And instead of saying, just printing it out there, I want to say test equals true. So I've got a variable called test, and I'm saying it's true. Okay, and then else, back up, else, and what about the else? Else test is false. So all this does is goes through each item and finds out if that is in fact in the list. I'm not finding out where it is. I don't care where it is. I only need to know if it's in the list. Goes through. If it finds a match, now test has a value of true. If it doesn't find a match, test is false. So let's come down here. If test colon enter print city found. Let's back up. We'll say else What happens if we didn't find a match? They said not a city in Michigan. So now we're going to say print, open the parentheses, paste that in there. So what we were doing was we checked to see if whatever was input was on the list. If it was, test has a value of true. Okay. So test is assigned a value one way or the other. If test, now an if statement, what's an if statement do? It checks to see if a condition is true or false. Here's my condition. That variable is a Boolean. It's either true or false. If test, it's true. So this is similar to what we did before. And I said while true, and we went through a loop. So let's see what happens with this. It's going to run through and it's going to test to see. It says we've got 1 out of 3. Well, let's find out where the issues exist. It says that Acme has a problem. It says enter the name of city. Acme, not a city in Michigan. Well, Acme is a city in Michigan. Now, our problem is if we found a match, we need to break. That's all it is. If we found a match, we break. So we found a match. Acme was a match. We came to the next one and did a test. Came to the next one and did a test. As soon as we found one that wasn't a match, that kicked us out. So let's test to see how we do now with that break in there. It says we got 3 out of 3. We go back, Acme was good, the input was tested fine, and this one would have checked to see if city was found, so we're good to go. Like I said, this one was a lot easier than the other one. I wish they would have put this one in first because it makes more sense comparing it to the train cars like I'd said in the last one. So now you see what I was talking about, since they populated this the same time they declared it. They declared and initialized it at the same time. In the previous example, they only declared it. They didn't initialize any value to it. They just defined what it was, that it was in fact a list, but there was no value in it.